How are you, my friend?
I'm good.
So what happened last night? Did something go down that I'm not really...
Oh, my God, Reg.
Well,
How do you explain that?
This is why I say the 2-minute report that's now coming out, that the officials come out and they basically grade their performance in the last 2 minutes. This goes to what I've always said about our game and the NBA officials, especially in late game situations, that the officials always swallow their whistle and let the players decide the game. As egregious as fouls may be or non-calls, they always let the players decide the games. And last night was no different. There was 2 calls, obviously the OKC-Spurs call, but there was a call in our game that I had never seen before where they had to huddle up and they were kind of scratching their heads. Now, they ended up making the right call. If you remember the foul that I believe it was Shumpert on Millsap that pushed Millsap into the shooting Kyle Korver while he was shooting threes. Well, the foul occurred on Millsap, but they gave Korver the 3 free throws, and it was almost like the domino effect. We had never seen that before, and I guarantee you that was one of the main reasons why the officials huddled up and came over the correct call. But that call in the Spurs Thunder, no one had ever seen that before.
But, first of all, Dion Waiters taking the ball out of bounds, which I don't want. And then, Ginobili is on the line. You see his foot on the line, crowding him. And then you get the forearm shiver
Russell Westbrook is running out of bounds and coming back in bounds. I'm questioning if he could have caught the basketball on that. Danny Green fouled Kevin Durant while the ball was in the air, while Durant was going down. That was a foul that was non-called. If I was Patty Mills, I would have pump faked and let Steven Adams run right into me. That would have been a foul. And then the offensive rebound by LaMarcus Aldridge easily could have been a foul.
Yep.
But again, I always say the officials swallow their whistles, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it's always been that. For 18 years that I played, they let players decide the games. I know people are all up in arms. To me, the blatant lie is to say that they missed the call when the official is counting you off and looking right at you. So how can you say you didn't see Dion Waiters' elbow, shove, whatever you want to describe it? You can't say that the official didn't see it because the official is right on the play behind counting the 5 seconds. That's what gets people so upset about.
Yeah, and I understand that you could have missed Ginobili's foot being on the line, which if you start there with
that's easy. But again, foot on the line is just a delay of game, and then you restart. What Waiters did is a change of possession. That changes things. That becomes Spurs ball, timeout for the Spurs, where Popovich can drop a play. And everyone's saying, well, they got the ball. Yes, they got the basketball, but wouldn't you want a timeout, change of possession, where Pop can drop a play very much like he did to get Aldridge fouled on a three-pointer? I would take that as opposed to a scrambled play where you had the wrong people taking the shot like Patty Mills in the corner.
Yeah, you have a 3-on-1. You got to capitalize against Steven Adams. San Antonio, I said this, San Antonio should never have been in that situation where you needed help to win that game.
And one play does not define a game. Yeah. I know everyone's all up in arms. It's time for us to move on. It happened. It's not going to, you're not going to replay the game or those last 14 seconds. And you're right, a 3-on-1 situation, when Danny Green got the ball, instead of throwing it ahead to Patty Mills, he had Manu Ginobili to his right. If he would have passed the ball to Ginobili, it would have been a much simpler play because then you would have had a 2-on-1, or Ginobili almost had a step or two in front of Steven Adams where he probably would have got fouled by Adams going in for the lay-in.
The Dan Patrick Show, weekday mornings on Audience.